Top 10 International Organization of the World. Number 1. World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization, WTO, is an international organization that aims to promote free and fair trade among its member nations. It was established on January 1, 1995, as a successor to the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, which was created after World War II to help promote international trade and reduce tariffs. The WTO is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, and has 164 member countries, which represent over 96% of global trade. The organization operates on the principle of non-discrimination, which means that all member countries are treated equally, and no country is given preferential treatment. This principle is enshrined in the Most Favored Nation (MFN) clause, which requires that any advantage given to one member country must be extended to all other members. The WTO has three main functions. Administering trade agreements. The WTO administers the rules and agreements governing international trade, including the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, the Agreement on the Application of Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures, SPS, and the Agreement on Technical Barriers to Trade, TBT. It also provides a forum for negotiating new trade agreements. Providing a forum for trade negotiations. The WTO provides a platform for member countries to negotiate trade agreements and resolve trade disputes. The WTO's most famous negotiation round was the Uruguay Round, which concluded in 1994 and led to the creation of the WTO. Monitoring national trade policies. The WTO monitors national trade policies to ensure that they comply with WTO rules and agreements. It conducts regular reviews of member countries' trade policies and provides technical assistance to help countries comply with WTO rules. One of the most important features of the WTO is its dispute settlement system, which provides a mechanism for resolving trade disputes between member countries. The system has a two-stage process: consultation and adjudication. If consultation fails to resolve the dispute, the matter can be referred to a panel of experts, whose ruling can be appealed to an appellate body. The WTO's dispute settlement system has been praised for its effectiveness and efficiency in resolving disputes. Critics of the WTO argue that it has favored developed countries over developing countries and has been a tool for promoting the interests of multinational corporations. They also argue that the WTO's focus on liberalizing trade has led to job losses and environmental degradation in some countries. In conclusion, the WTO is an international organization that aims to promote free and fair trade among its member countries. It has three main functions: administering trade agreements, providing a forum for trade negotiations, and monitoring national trade policies. The WTO's dispute settlement system provides a mechanism for resolving trade disputes between member countries. While the WTO has been criticized for favoring developed countries over developing countries and promoting the interests of multinational corporations, it has also been praised for its effectiveness in resolving disputes and promoting global economic growth. Number 2. G20 Summit. The G20, Group of 20, Summit is a high-level international forum that brings together the leaders of the world's major economies to discuss and coordinate on issues of global economic governance, trade, and financial regulation. The G20 includes 19 countries plus the European Union, representing around 90% of the world's GDP and two-thirds of its population. The G20 was created in 1999 as a forum for finance ministers and central bank governors from the world's leading economies to discuss policy coordination and economic cooperation. It was elevated to the level of Leaders Summit in 2008, in response to the global financial crisis. The G20 countries include Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The European Union is also a member, represented by the President of the European Council and the President of the European Commission. The G20 Summit is usually held annually, and the host country rotates among its members. The host country sets the agenda for the summit, which typically includes discussions on a range of topics such as economic growth, trade, investment, climate change, energy policy, financial regulation, and international development. The summit also provides an opportunity for bilateral meetings between leaders and for the G20 to engage with other international organizations and stakeholders. The G20 has been credited with playing a critical role in the global response to the 2008 financial crisis, coordinating policies to stabilize the global economy and preventing a deeper recession. Since then, the G20 has continued to focus on addressing pressing economic and geopolitical issues facing the world, such as climate change, digital transformation, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Critics of the G20 argue that it is too dominated by developed countries and that its decision-making process lacks transparency and accountability. Others have called for the G20 to broaden its scope beyond economic issues and to address broader social and environmental challenges facing the world. In summary, the G20 summit is an important international forum for discussing and coordinating on economic and financial policies among the world's major economies. It plays a critical role in addressing global economic challenges and fostering cooperation between nations, but also faces criticism for its limited scope and lack of transparency. Number 3. The United Nations Security Council, UNSC, is one of the 6 principal organs of the United Nations, UN, responsible for maintaining international peace and security. The Council is composed of 15 members, of which 5 are permanent: China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and 10 are non-permanent members elected for 2-year terms by the UN General Assembly. The Security Council has primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. It is empowered to make decisions regarding the use of military force, the imposition of sanctions, and the establishment of peacekeeping missions. It may also recommend the establishment of international tribunals to prosecute individuals responsible for war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity. In carrying out its responsibilities, the Security Council has the authority to take a range of actions, including issuing resolutions, making decisions, imposing sanctions, and authorizing the use of force. It may also engage in informal consultations and negotiations to resolve conflicts before they escalate. Decisions of the Security Council are binding on all UN member states, and it is the only UN body that has the power to enforce its decisions. The Council may take action under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, which provides for the use of military force in cases where there is a threat to international peace and security. The work of the Security Council is supported by the UN Secretariat, which is responsible for providing information and analysis to the Council, as well as for implementing its decisions. The Council also works closely with other UN bodies, such as the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court. Overall, the United Nations Security Council plays a critical role in maintaining international peace and security, and its decisions have far-reaching consequences for the global community. Number 4. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, is an intergovernmental economic organization consisting of 38 member countries, founded in 1961 to stimulate economic progress and world trade. The headquarters of the OECD is in Paris, France. The organization's mission is to promote policies that will improve the economic and social well-being of people around the world. This is achieved by sharing knowledge, promoting best practices, and coordinating policies among member countries. The OECD also provides a forum for member countries to discuss economic and social issues and to develop and implement policies that address them. The OECD's work is organized into several directorates, including Economics. This directorate analyzes economic trends, produces economic forecasts, and provides advice on economic policy. Education and Skills. This directorate focuses on education policies and skills development, including early childhood education, primary and secondary education, vocational education and training, and higher education. Employment, labor, and social affairs. This directorate works on policies related to employment, labor markets, social protection, and social inclusion. Environment. This directorate focuses on environmental policy, including climate change, biodiversity, and sustainable development. Financial and enterprise affairs. This directorate works on policies related to financial markets, corporate governance, competition, and entrepreneurship. Public governance. This directorate focuses on public sector management, including issues related to budgeting, regulatory reform, and public-private partnerships. Science, Technology, and Innovation. This directorate works on policies related to innovation, research and development, and the diffusion of technology. The OECD also works closely with other international organizations, including the World Trade Organization, WTO, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. Overall, the OECD is an important organization that helps to promote economic growth, social progress, and international cooperation. Its work is essential for ensuring that countries can work together to address global challenges and create a better future for everyone. Number 5. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, is a specialized agency of the United Nations, UN, that was established on November 16, 1945, with the aim of promoting international cooperation in education, science, culture, and communication. The organization is headquartered in Paris, France, and has 193 member states. UNESCO's mission is to contribute to peace and security by promoting international cooperation through education, science, culture, and communication. To achieve this goal, UNESCO works to develop educational policies and systems, promote scientific research, protect and preserve cultural heritage, and promote intercultural dialogue and understanding. One of UNESCO's main functions is to coordinate international efforts to improve education worldwide. The organization supports efforts to increase access to education, improve the quality of education, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. UNESCO also works to ensure that education is inclusive and equitable, and that it promotes values such as peace, tolerance, and respect for human rights. In the field of science, UNESCO works to promote scientific research and cooperation between scientists and institutions worldwide. The organization supports the development of science policies, the sharing of scientific knowledge, and the preservation of scientific heritage. UNESCO also promotes the use of science for sustainable development, and works to address global challenges such as climate change, food security, and pandemics. UNESCO is also responsible for promoting and protecting cultural diversity and heritage. The organization works to safeguard cultural heritage sites and traditions, promote cultural tourism, and support the development of creative industries. UNESCO also works to promote intercultural dialogue and understanding, and to combat racism, discrimination, and intolerance. In the field of communication, UNESCO works to promote access to information and freedom of expression, and to encourage the development of independent and pluralistic media. The organization also promotes the use of communication technologies for development and education, and works to promote the safety of journalists and protect media freedom. Overall, UNESCO plays a crucial role in promoting international cooperation and understanding in the fields of education, science, culture, and communication. The organization's work is essential for building a more peaceful and equitable world. Number 6. Amnesty International is a global human rights organization that is dedicated to promoting and protecting human rights around the world. It was founded in London in 1961 by Peter Benenson, a British lawyer, to support prisoners of conscience, people who have been imprisoned solely for peacefully expressing their political or religious views. Amnesty International is a non-governmental organization, NGO, with offices in over 70 countries around the world. It has over 10 million members and supporters who work together to defend and promote human rights. The organization's mission is to conduct research and take action to prevent and end human rights abuses, to protect the rights of individuals and communities, and to promote human rights around the world. The work of Amnesty International includes research and documentation. Amnesty International conducts research on human rights abuses around the world and publishes reports and other materials to document and publicize these abuses. The organization also conducts investigations into specific cases of human rights violations, including those of prisoners of conscience. Advocacy and campaigning. Amnesty International campaigns to raise awareness of human rights abuses and to put pressure on governments, organizations, and individuals to take action to address these abuses. The organization also advocates for changes in laws and policies to protect human rights and to prevent future abuses. Education and training. Amnesty International provides education and training on human rights to its members and supporters, as well as to the general public. This includes training on how to document human rights abuses, how to campaign effectively, and how to take action to protect human rights. Legal support. Amnesty International provides legal support to individuals and groups who have been victimized by human rights abuses. This can include legal representation, advice, and assistance in filing complaints or seeking justice. Mobilizing public support. Amnesty International mobilizes public support for human rights through its campaigns, events, and social media presence. The organization uses social media platforms to connect with supporters and to raise awareness of human rights issues around the world. Overall, Amnesty International is committed to promoting and protecting human rights around the world through its research, advocacy, campaigning, education, legal support, and public mobilization efforts. Its work has helped to raise awareness of human rights abuses and to pressure governments, organizations, and individuals to take action to protect and promote human rights. Number 6. Amnesty International is a global human rights organization that is dedicated to promoting and protecting human rights around the world. It was founded in London in 1961 by Peter Benenson, a British lawyer, to support prisoners of conscience, people who have been imprisoned solely for peacefully expressing their political or religious views. Amnesty International is a non-governmental organization, NGO, with offices in over 70 countries around the world. It has over 10 million members and supporters who work together to defend and promote human rights. The organization's mission is to conduct research and take action to prevent and end human rights abuses, to protect the rights of individuals and communities, and to promote human rights around the world. The work of Amnesty International includes research and documentation. Amnesty International conducts research on human rights abuses around the world and publishes reports and other materials to document and publicize these abuses. The organization also conducts investigations into specific cases of human rights violations, including those of prisoners of conscience. Advocacy and campaigning. Amnesty International campaigns to raise awareness of human rights abuses and to put pressure on governments, organizations, and individuals to take action to address these abuses. The organization also advocates for changes in laws and policies to protect human rights and to prevent future abuses. Education and training. Amnesty International provides education and training on human rights to its members and supporters, as well as to the general public. This includes training on how to document human rights abuses, how to campaign effectively, and how to take action to protect human rights. Legal support. Amnesty International provides legal support to individuals and groups who have been victimized by human rights abuses. This can include legal representation, advice, and assistance in filing complaints or seeking justice. Mobilizing public support. Amnesty International mobilizes public support for human rights through its campaigns, events, and social media presence. The organization uses social media platforms to connect with supporters and to raise awareness of human rights issues around the world. Overall, Amnesty International is committed to promoting and protecting human rights around the world through its research, advocacy, campaigning, education, legal support, and public mobilization efforts. Its work has helped to raise awareness of human rights abuses and to pressure governments, organizations, and individuals to take action to protect and promote human rights. Number 7. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, is an intergovernmental organization established in 1957 by the United Nations to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy while preventing its misuse for military purposes. The IAEA works to promote safe, secure and peaceful nuclear technologies, strengthen nuclear safety and security, and verify the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. The IAEA has three main functions. Nuclear safeguards. The IAEA helps to ensure that nuclear material is not diverted from peaceful uses to weapons programs by verifying that nuclear activities are consistent with the peaceful purposes declared by the countries. The agency works with member states to establish and maintain safeguards agreements and carries out inspections to verify the accuracy of the information provided. Nuclear safety. The IAEA assists member states in establishing and implementing safety measures for nuclear installations, including reactors and nuclear fuel cycle facilities. It provides guidance on nuclear safety and security standards, emergency preparedness and response, as well as helps countries develop their regulatory frameworks for nuclear safety. Technical cooperation. The IAEA provides technical assistance to member states to help them develop their nuclear capabilities for peaceful purposes. This includes assistance in nuclear medicine, radiation therapy, and agriculture. The agency also helps countries develop their infrastructure for nuclear power, including nuclear power plants, and helps to develop the necessary regulatory frameworks. The IAEA is governed by its Board of Governors, which is composed of 35 member states elected by the General Conference. The General Conference is the highest decision-making body of the agency, and is composed of all member states. The IAEA is led by a Director General, who is appointed by the Board of Governors and approved by the General Conference. In summary, the International Atomic Energy Agency is a specialized agency of the United Nations that works to promote the peaceful use of nuclear technology while ensuring the safety and security of its use. Its main functions include nuclear safeguards, nuclear safety, and technical cooperation. The agency is governed by a Board of Governors and a Director General. Number 8. The International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, is a specialized agency of the United Nations, UN, that was established in 1977 to address the issues of poverty and hunger in rural areas of developing countries. IFAD is headquartered in Rome, Italy, and has a mandate to help poor rural people to improve their food security, increase their incomes, and achieve sustainable development. IFAD works by providing loans and grants to governments and other organizations that support rural development projects. It focuses on projects that promote sustainable agriculture, rural financial services, natural resource management, and rural enterprise development. IFAD works closely with national governments, rural communities, and other development partners to identify and address the root causes of rural poverty and to develop effective strategies for poverty reduction. One of IFAD's unique features is its focus on the poorest and most marginalized rural people, who are often excluded from mainstream development programs. IFAD supports projects that empower these people by providing them with access to financial services, improving their agricultural productivity, and helping them to organize into effective groups and associations. Since its establishment, IFAD has funded over 1,000 rural development projects in more than 125 countries. Its work has helped to improve the lives of millions of poor rural people by increasing their food security, improving their livelihoods, and building their resilience to economic and environmental shocks. IFAD is funded by contributions from its member countries, which include both donor and borrowing countries. The organization also receives funds from multilateral organizations, foundations, and other development partners. IFAD has a unique financial model that allows it to leverage its resources to maximize its impact on rural poverty reduction. In conclusion, IFAD is a specialized agency of the United Nations that works to reduce poverty and hunger in rural areas of developing countries. It focuses on projects that promote sustainable agriculture, rural financial services, natural resource management, and rural enterprise development. IFAD's unique feature is its focus on the poorest and most marginalized rural people. It is funded by contributions from member countries and other development partners, and its work has helped to improve the lives of millions of rural people around the world. Number 9. The International Labour Organization, ILO, is a specialized agency of the United Nations that was established in 1919. Its main goal is to promote social justice, protect the rights of workers, and improve working conditions worldwide. The ILO has 187 member states, including governments, employers' organizations, and workers' organizations. The ILO's work is guided by its constitution, which sets out the organization's mandate, objectives, and principles. The organization's mandate is to promote social justice and improve working conditions, while its objectives are to promote rights at work, encourage decent employment opportunities, enhance social protection, and strengthen dialogue on work-related issues. The ILO operates through three main bodies: the International Labour Conference, ILC, the governing body, and the International Labour Office. The ILC is the organization's highest decision-making body, and it meets annually to set policies and adopt conventions and recommendations on labor issues. The governing body is responsible for overseeing the organization's activities and ensuring that its policies and programs are implemented effectively. The International Labour Office serves as the ILO's secretariat and provides technical assistance to member states. The ILO's work covers a broad range of issues related to labor and employment, including employment promotion, social protection, labor rights, and workplace safety and health. The organization's activities include research and policy development, technical assistance and capacity building, and advocacy and awareness raising. One of the ILO's key contributions to international labor standards is the adoption of conventions and recommendations. Conventions are legally binding instruments that set out minimum standards for labor rights and working conditions. Recommendations are non-binding guidelines that provide guidance on best practices and policies related to labor issues. In addition to its work on labor issues, the ILO also promotes social dialogue and tripartism. Social dialogue refers to the process of consultation and negotiation among governments, employers, and workers on labor-related issues. Tripartism refers to the participation of these three groups in decision-making processes related to labor issues. Overall, the ILO plays a crucial role in promoting decent work and social justice worldwide. Its work is based on the principles of social dialogue, tripartism, and respect for labor rights, and it has contributed to the adoption of numerous international labor standards and the improvement of working conditions for millions of people around the world. Number 10. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, is a permanent intergovernmental body established by the United Nations General Assembly in 1964. Its primary mandate is to promote trade, investment, and development in developing countries, with a particular focus on the needs and interests of the poorest and most vulnerable nations. UNCTAD's work covers a wide range of issues, including macroeconomic policies, international trade, finance, investment, technology, enterprise development, sustainable development, and debt and development. It provides research, policy analysis, technical assistance, and capacity building to member states, as well as engaging in advocacy and consensus building at the international level. UNCTAD operates through its secretariat, based in Geneva, Switzerland, and a governing body composed of all member states, which meets every 4 years to set the organization's work program and budget. It also has a number of subsidiary bodies, including the Intergovernmental Group of Experts on Competition Law and Policy, the Investment Policy Framework for Sustainable Development, and the Technology and Innovation Report. UNCTAD's work has played an important role in shaping international economic policy, particularly in the areas of debt relief, trade, and investment. It has also been a leading voice on issues such as the digital divide, intellectual property rights, and the impact of globalization on developing countries.